good evening to you, sir.
Good evening to you.
Dr. Ezaby, from the 31st of May until the 2nd of June 2026, you'll hosted 50 African nations, 4 major continental bodies, and also a high-level Egyptian delegation. First, set the scene for us. Why is this specific meeting, the 2026 Korea African Foreign Ministers meeting, considered as a turning point rather than being considered another diplomatic gathering?
Well, all African countries now try to depend on, not to depend on Europe or United States. They try to verify the cooperation between the African continent and many other powers in the world like China, Russia, and Korea. So this meeting is very important for African continent because Korea is considered one of the most important countries in digital development and many other and technology. So if African countries succeed to make a cooperation between the African countries and Korea in the technology and information technology systems, it will make a very different on African continent. Also, African continent considered very important for Korea because it's a lot of sources, mineral sources, and also have a lot of treasures in their land. If they succeed to make a trade between African continent and Korea, it will help to raise the level of living for African people.
Yes, Dr. Ezaby, Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati presented Egypt in this forum. What is the message that Cairo intended to or is sending by leading the delegation at such high level?
Egypt especially considered a very important country, not only for ASEAN continent or African continent, because Egypt, for his position in the world and the Suez Canal, is considered is very important. It considered as a link between Middle East and Africa and Europe and Asia. So if Egypt now considered as a transport country, transportation country between Asia and the African continent, so Egypt have a lot of values for Korea and for ASEAN countries. Especially we have Suez Canal and we have the manufacturing area on Suez Canal, which make a very great projects with the area, Chinese area. So Egypt tried to make a Korean area on Suez Canal too, especially that Korea is a very great country in car manufacturing and also in mobiles and technology systems. So if we succeed to transfer the manufacturing, the Korean manufacturing to Egypt, it will make a great difference for Egypt.
Yes, Dr. Ezaby, Minister Abdelati spoke of formulating a unified African vision in cooperation with Korea. How realistic is that goal given the diverse interests among the 50 participating African nations?
Well, African vision, and not only African vision, but also Egyptian vision for 20 Egypt tried to make a transportation like a railway, Cairo, Cape Town, many other projects, great projects for transportation from Egypt to Africa. So by the location of Egypt and Egypt is controlling Suez Canal. So we can succeed to make a great cooperation between Korea and the African continent through Egypt. And this cooperation will help African continent to make projects on their countries through Egypt. Also, experience of Egyptian companies in the projects of infrastructure will help Africa to be attracting countries for the Korean investments through Egypt. So it will make a great value for Egypt in the cooperation between African countries and Korea.
Yes. Dr. Ezaby, 50 out of 54 African countries have attended a massive showing, yet Egypt chose to hold separate focus talks with specific partners. So what strategic calculus is at work here? Is Egypt positioning itself as a bridge between South Korea and the continent, or as a mediator or for the investment, and Egypt acting as a gate for the African continent?
We can say that Egypt can be a mediator between African countries and Korea, but we can say that Egypt will have a great Egypt is considered like a broker who can play a great role in the cooperation between Korea and 54 African countries, especially that Egypt can help the African countries, as I say, structure projects which can attract the Korean investments to African countries. Also, any Korean investments when they come through Egypt, especially the Egyptian great infrastructure in transportation and railways, also Suez Canal, also the river transportation. So everything must force from Egypt, especially Egypt to a guarantee country for any investments in Africa's continent. Yes. All countries like China, Korea, Russia, France trusted in Egypt and His Excellency President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. So Egypt can be a guarantee country for any investment in African countries, especially if Egypt share in this investment.
Yes. Dr. Ezaby, the main ministerial session was titled Strengthening the Economic Cooperation, Promoting Shared Prosperity and Sustainable Growth. Minister Abdul Ati called for a broader collaboration in infrastructure, industrialization and technology transfer, which single sector holds the most immediate promise for Egypt-Korea partnership.
Now we have more than Korean. Also, we have many projects in infrastructure which Egypt and Korea. So the cooperation between Korea also when appears in the field of car manufacturing. We have many brands, many Korean brands in Egypt, manufactured in Egypt. So many fields of cooperation in the economy and manufacture between Egypt and Korea. And Dr. Badr Abdel Ati tried to raise the cooperation to a strategic sharing between Egypt and Korea in the next years.
Yes. Korea is a global leader in supplying chains and batteries, automobiles. Africa has critical raw materials in Egypt and Korea. Discussion moving beyond the extraction of export towards the actual localization of manufacturing. Where are we seeing the evidence of this thing?
Well, in the manufacturing, Korean manufacturing, also we have a great cooperation between Egypt and Korea, and Korea share with Egypt and the great projects like Metro. We saw what Korea do for Egyptian great project, the line of Metro, especially line 4 and line 3. And we saw the cooperation between Korea to transfer the technology of manufacturing metro cars from Korea to Egypt, and now for metro cars in Egypt under Korea. So many projects and many fields of cooperation and collaboration between Egypt and Korea in the next years will make a great projects for the Egyptian economy.
Yes. Dr. Ezaby, from a Cairo perspective, what are the concrete projects or the memos of memorandum of understandings would signal the real progress coming out of this meeting, particularly in energy, food security or water security?
Well, we saw what happened to the food supply chains, especially after closing, and we saw the prices of food supplies, which have raised because of the war of Iran. So Egypt can, with Korea, to transfer food and fruits, many other goods from Egypt to other countries, and Korea can also take Egypt as a bridge to send to make a supply chain to the Gulf countries. So if Egypt now succeed to have this deal to transfer the food chains from China and Korea to Egypt, then to the Gulf countries, especially after closing Hormuz Strait, it is very important for the Egyptian economy.
Yes, yes. Dr. Ezaby, Minister Abdul Ati have called for reforming the international financial system of development of banks that can provide more financing affairs to the Africa. Is this a realistic demand, or are we dreaming, or it's not? It would not be fulfilled on the ground?
I can't listen to this question.
Yes, I will repeat again. Foreign Minister Badr Abdul Ati called for reforming the international financial system, development of banks that can provide more financing to Africa. So is this realistic, a realistic demand?
Yes, it's very realistic because Egypt, African continent, have a lot of things in their lands. They have minerals, oil, diamonds, many things. So if the financial system changed and supported African countries to have a great use for the minerals in their land, it will help African countries to be a great countries, especially in economy field, and by asking Dr. Badr Abdul Ati to give a support, financial support to African continent, it is very realistic because Egypt and African continent can use this money to raise a life of living by use it in manufacturing diamonds, golds, and many other minerals, precious minerals, which in their African land, and it will be useful for all over the world to use these minerals. Especially we African continent have some minerals which used in technology manufacturing, like mobiles and many other things.
Yes, Dr. Ezaby, also the Africa's unified position on the UN Security Council reform. How does Korea, as a non-permanent council member at times, but not at the P5 nation, factor into this? Can Seoul amplify the Africa's voice on this front?
Well, we know that Egypt tried to make a support to many other countries to have a great power in the United Nations and other international organizations. So, especially Egypt play a great role as a mediator in any struggle in the world. So, by supporting Korea to have a staple seat in Security Council or in the United Nations, and because of the visions on the struggles between Egypt and Korea are equal, so Korea can support the vision of Egypt in the international organizations. So that's why Egypt supports Korea to have this seat in international organization.
Yes. How about Africa connecting South Korea to the African organizations like the African Union and other African organizations?
Well, we saw that there is a council between Korea and the African continent. Also, we saw a council between China and the African continent. Last week, we saw the meeting between European Union and Korea too. So Korea now considered a very important country for Europe and Africa. So by give Korea a seat in African organization, it will help the African continent to have a best use of the relation between Korea and African countries, especially in financial system and technology, and also by supporting Africa to make a great use of their treasures in their lands.
Yes. Dr. Ezaby, also on the climate adaptation, the foreign minister mentioned the climate adaptation alongside the stronger food, water and energy security. Korea is a technological powerhouse in green technology and smart grids. Is there a specific climate resilience package that Egypt could point with that Egypt could pilot with the Korean support, possibly through the NEPAD Center for the Excellence of the Climate Resilience that is hosted by Egypt?
Well, we know that Egypt takes a lot of care of the projects like green hydrogen and the clean energy. So Egypt tried to make a cooperation between Egypt and Korea in this field, especially that Korea have a lot of experience in that field, who can help Egypt to make a great project for green hydrogen and be a center to export green hydrogen to all over the world. Yes. So Dr. Badr Abdelati assured that the green energy and the clean energy is the main project for Egypt in the next years. So Dr. Badr Abdelati tried to convince the Korean country to share Egypt in these projects because it's the future of the world for energy, especially anything happens to the supplies of oil make a great effect on the international economy. But by depending on green energy and will affect the environment and affect also on the international economy.
Yes. Minister Abdulati have highlighted Egypt's commitment to the cooperation with South Korea across Africa using the Egyptian Agency for Partnership and Development and the Cairo Peacekeeping Center. So give us an example about this and give us an idea about this field.
Well, peace in Egypt, we know that Egypt is a country of peace. And also, always, His Excellency President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi announced in many speeches for His Excellency that Egypt tries to convince all countries not to go to struggle, but always try to solve the struggles by diplomacy. So Egypt and Korea can work together in the field of peace, like what happened in the struggle in the Horn of Africa, which will affect the maritime in the Red Sea, also the struggle in Iran. Many things can Egypt and Korea work together on it, try as mediators to solve all the struggles.
Yes. Egypt have hosted the African Space Agency, the Post-Conflict Reconciliation Center and the NEPAD Climate Center. Can these become a kind of platforms for the Korean investment and also the technical assistance? Is that happening, yes or not? Would be on the ground?
It will be on the ground because, as I said, that Egypt considers that projects of green energy, clean energy, and the green hydrogen is very important in the future, not for Egypt only, but for all the world countries. So Egypt and Korea can work together to achieve more projects for this clean energy and be one of the most countries who can export this technology to all over the world.
Yes, I thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your valuable information, Dr. Mohamed Ezaby, International Relations Expert. We really had the pleasure to have this phone with you. Ladies and gentlemen, a short break and I'm going to be back with you.